Is your business prepared for a workplace accident? What's up, blue collar business owners? Welcome back to the Blue Collar Prosperity Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Masker, where we focus on helping guide you to have a prosperous business. Today we have with us Eric Wick. Eric is the founder of Safety Team Technologies. After spending 15 years as an insurance and risk management specialist for small to mid-sized blue collar companies, Eric noticed a recurring problem with many of his clients. Many of them struggled to stay on top of safety compliance and suffered major financial setbacks when workplace injuries lead to legal risk they were unprepared to handle. To help, Eric created the first Set It and Forget It digital safety compliance platforms that helps blue-collar companies gain shelter from legal risk and reduce insurance premiums, all done on autopilot using a fully automated solution. So that is a long intro, but that is Eric Wick. Welcome, Eric. Thank you so much for being here. What's going on today?
Hey, not much, Paul. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here on your show.
Yes, thank you for being here. Excited for this. I know it's usually, as we kind of alluded in the intro, and I'm sure based on your experience, what we're going to talk about today, usually no one really pays attention to it until it's a problem, and then they say, I wish I would have done something for this. So I know we kind of referenced it in the intro, but give our listeners just a little bit more backstory into your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like you said, not the sexiest topic, but when the issue is at your doorstep as a business owner, it could really create a nightmare. So it's important to be on top of safety and know what shortcuts are available now with modern technology and where we're at today. So I fell into the insurance industry as a broker close to 20 years ago. And I say fell into it because there's not a lot of folks out there that grow up dreaming of being an insurance agent or working in that industry. Similar to safety, it's not the most exciting. However, it could be a very rewarding business if you can make it. So I learned early on as a broker that there are no shortage of other insurance brokers out there, and we all love to target blue-collar businesses, especially contractors. And the reason why is because they have higher premiums and they have a higher risk of injuries, and there's more likely to be pain in their insurance program. So if they're having pain and you get them at the right point, they're more likely to let you come in and quote it and at least hear what you have to offer. So I learned early on, hey, there's so many brokers out there, and if I'm going to do well, I have to differentiate. So I started doing everything I could to learn about OSHA compliance. I started offering my prospective clients to do their safety compliance for them, which didn't last long because I was stretching myself way too thin. It was tremendously effective at getting referrals into new businesses, right? HVAC contractors, plumbing contractors, framing and construction companies. They love to have a broker who's going to come out, not just shop their insurance for them, but do their safety meetings for them in English and Spanish, do their hazard assessments, put their IIPP together. So it earned me a lot of respect and referrals from my clients, but I found out after about 5-6 years of doing that, I had stretched myself far too thin. So I started brainstorming ways that I could simplify safety compliance for my clients first. And we came up with an idea to have a digitally automated solution. And I pitched my idea to my clients, pitched it to some software engineer folks who I've known that are extremely talented, ended up raising the money from my business client, my insurance clients who were struggling with safety and workplace injuries that loved my idea to create this digital solution. And we ended up building it, launched it back in 2022. And it's gone very well. We're growing every month. We're adding new clients, and that's how I ended up here today.
Awesome. So now let's dive into what you guys actually do, what it looks like, what are the issues you're seeing out there to help our listeners. So you kind of referenced it in your story, but what are some of the main reasons you see contractors just, especially in the higher risk areas, whether they're doing tree work or they're, up dealing with, other things up in heights, whether it's electrical work or, like you said, roofers, framers, there's a lot of risk involved. And a lot of times we forget about that. What are some the the biggest reasons you see them struggling to stay on top of compliance to begin with?
It boils down to time, right? I mean, when you're a small to mid-sized business owner, you're spinning so many plates at the same time. You're trying to keep your head above water on, offering bids to prospective customers and then getting the job done. And I mean, managing employees, turnover amongst employees, finding skilled talent, that's a struggle in itself, right? So I feel so bad for these, small to mid-sized companies that on top of everything else have all this red tape they have to deal with, especially when it comes to OSHA compliance and just rising insurance premiums when an employee gets injured. Because it's not if, it's when. I mean, employees get hurt all the time in these blue-collar trades, and it's a very common myth amongst a lot of the business owners that there's nothing they can do about it, right? They just feel, hey, okay, let's say I'm going to listen to my insurance agent or the insurance company telling me I need to start doing a safety training every week or getting my guys together for a meeting. They're going to be thinking about what they're going to do when they get off work, right? They're going to go, they're not thinking about what's being told to them during a safety meeting, because oftentimes some foreman just printed off a PDF about a topic for safety and they're reading it off a piece of paper, and good luck, getting the guys to pay attention to that. And then if your foreman who's reading it doesn't speak Spanish and half or more of your workers are Spanish speaking, then you've got the language barrier to deal with. So they end up a lot of times going in with good intentions. They're going to cultivate, an excellent safety culture at their workplace, and it just ends up falling apart over time because it's so tedious and time consuming to maintain the safety program.
So let's get into that safety program. So obviously you guys have, like you said, more of a set it and forget it digital platform that kind of takes this for them. How do the insurance companies look at that to be like, I know you said it's going to reduce their premiums, shelter them from risk. How does that play into, and what do we need to do with our insurance agents to say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. We're working, with safety team technologies and lower our premiums. How does that flush out?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because in a lot of our marketing, we say, hey, use our platform and over time, you're going to reduce your insurance premiums. I myself as a broker have seen every application that we ask our clients to fill out before they renew their insurance asks about safety program and safety meetings. Even if it's their business auto insurance, they say, are you doing driver safety meetings at least once a month? General liability insurance, they want to know, are you doing safety trainings? Workers' comp, obviously. And everyone says, yes, yes, yes. We do them every week. And 98% of the time, it's BS. But they want to look good. So the reason they're not getting any credits or discounts from the insurance company is because carriers will always go out a month or so after you bind your policies for renewal, and they're going to want to do a job site safety assessment or come meet with you and ask you questions to get to know about your company. Make sure that everything they saw on the application is accurate. And when they're doing that, it's awkward and it's uncomfortable for the business owner when they say, okay, so your broker sent us this app saying you're doing safety meetings every week. Can you show us a couple months of your attendance forms so we could just see what topics you're doing? And then it's that deer in headlights look that you see every time. Oh, I think my office manager must have taken them home. Or, geez, I know we're doing the meetings. Maybe we're forgetting to document that we're doing them. And so it's like, yeah, the insurance inspector, whoever it is asking the question, just rolls their eyes and moves on because they're so used to hearing that. But what I do is I tell our clients when they sign up, don't forget this. Put a note in your calendar a month prior to your insurance renewal. Log into our platform, download all your safety training attendance forms digitally. It takes less than a minute. And email them to your broker and say, hey, share these with your underwriters who are going to quote us because I was told we're going to get a discount. And 9 out of 10 times, the insurance company will reward you for showing that you're implementing a safety program because it's so rare. And you could just stand out and say, hey, look what we're doing. Please, you told us that if we do this, it's gonna benefit us. So show us what are you going to do to deliver on that? And more often than not, you get a 5% credit, a 10% credit, which automatically pays for what our service costs. So that's just one way. And then the other way is by reducing your workplace injuries, you're going to reduce your experience modifier over time, which is going to give you a huge competitive advantage, and it's going to boost your bottom line.
Love it. So out of all the blue-collar companies out there, who needs this? Is it everybody? Is it certain trades? Is it certain size? Obviously, you've seen the worst of the worst, and you've seen all the things that can happen. Who needs this program?
So we target our approach to companies that are already experiencing a workplace injury problem, where there's a recurring problem. It's, at least once a year, someone's getting hurt. For some companies, obviously it depends how many employees you have, but it's just common for them to have a couple of workers' comp claims every year. And it hurts your insurance premium directly because the carriers aren't going to continue charging you lower rates if they're having to pay out all these money in claims. And you'd be surprised at how fast a workers' comp claim can skyrocket because these employees get hurt. They're sitting at home while they're injured. Their doctor said, don't go back to work for 2 weeks. And all that's playing during daytime television is commercials that are paid for by attorneys that know that there's a lot of injured workers sitting at home. And they say, hey, Paul, were you hurt on the job? Make sure you're maximizing your payout from the insurance company and from your employer. Call our office today. And what we're seeing, especially in California, being a highly regulatory state, makes it difficult for businesses. These attorneys are asking the injured workers, so was your company hosting regular safety training for you? Were they making a big effort to emphasize safety and train you the safe way to do your job? And if the employee hesitates and says, no, I don't think we ever did a safety meeting, or maybe we did once like 3 years ago, what the attorney can do is add on a separate lawsuit that's not covered by workers' comp insurance. It's called serious and willful misconduct. And all it takes to prove it is that your employer was not following all the state safety regulations. So I had a client, an employee was hurt. It was like an $80,000 workers' comp claim. And then the business, my client got a letter saying XYZ attorney is also suing you, the employee is, for serious and willful misconduct. Show us proof that you were training them in the safe way to do their job. And they couldn't, they didn't have anything. This is one of the clients, that hadn't taken me up on my offer. So sure enough, they had to pay $40,000, which is 50% of the workers' comp claim, out of pocket to settle the serious and willful misconduct.
Yeah.
I mean, workers getting hurt, it could just spiral out of control quick. So you want to invest some time and energy or find a software solution like ours that can get you on the right track so you never have to experience this problem, because I promise you, you're not going to like it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like fun, that's for sure. So I'm sure you get this a lot. Question kind of taking that a step further is, depending on the trade, sometimes subcontractors are more commonly used than other trades. When it comes to this whole liability, workplace safety, workers' comp, training, all that, first question is, what's the difference when we use a subcontractor to deliver the service that we sold versus an in-house employee? And then we'll go from there.
So when you use a subcontractor, you're kind of passing off a lot of the responsibility to that company, right? And it really boils down to what's the agreement that you have in place with that sub. So it's so common if I'm representing a sub and they say, hey, our GC just sent us this contract. It has all of these very extensive insurance requirements, but it also says we have to have an up-to-date safety program. We have to be doing safety meetings. We have to be doing hazard assessments. And that's just really the GC putting all of the liability off to the subs, which they're very good at doing, because the sub is anxious to get the job. right? They bid it. It looks like they're going to win it. So they're just going to oftentimes take a shortcut and say, yes, we have all of these safety processes in place. We're ready to start the job. And then in the unfortunate scenario where someone's badly hurt, the GC is going to go, well, you signed the contract saying that you had all of your safety procedures in order, so it's not our problem. And that's oftentimes what it comes down to.
So if we are the ones subbing out work, we want to make sure we have that in place as well.
Yeah.
Right? And we want to make sure they have that in place, because I have heard issues where the subs don't have that, or they say they have workers' comp, or they say they have all these things and they don't, and then it could come back on to the main contractor. Is that true as well?
Well, you better make sure they have workers' comp. So they might not say, hey, send me all of your safety documentation. They're not going to say that.
Right.
But with workers' comp, you better be 100% sure they have it. So you get a proof of insurance certificate that has your company listed as additional insured on the certificate. So that way, if someone's hurt, you're not going to have to file the claim to your carrier. But also, when you get audited by your workers' comp carrier, it happens every year, it's a requirement, and they see that you paid all this money out to a sub, if you don't have proof that you got their insurance certificate, then they're going to charge your workers' comp for all of the sub's payroll or the sub comp. So you got to get those certificates if you're a GC.
Awesome. Super helpful. So as we slowly start to wrap this conversation up, what have we missed? What have I not? What do I don't know what I don't know? What are some things that we missed that our listeners need to hear from you?
Right. So a common myth that I hear all the time, and maybe some of your listeners are thinking this, is like, hey, even if I start doing these safety trainings and all these other things OSHA wants us to do, it's just going to be a waste of my time. It's not going to have an impact. And that's simply not true. So I'll give you a quick story. So I talked earlier, I mentioned the word experience modifier, or the term. The experience. Are you familiar with what that is?
No, and not all of our listeners might not be either. So enlighten us.
Yeah, so that'll be what we finish on. So the experience mod applies to every company's workers' comp rates. And it's applied to your rate that the carrier gives you when they quote your renewal. And it's either going to punish you for having a bad claims history. I've seen a modifier as high as like a 5.0, which means that company with a 5.0 experience mod is going to pay 5 times the amount as the average company in their industry, as their competitor, their average. So you can imagine how much that hurts your company, right? You can't bid competitively. You're not making a profit. It's just you wish that those claims never happen. You got to find a way to fix it. So the key is to address it before it becomes a problem. Then there's companies that haven't had any claims when they're expected to have some, and they get a credit modifier, which rewards them significantly for not having any workplace injuries. So there's a plumbing contractor that always comes to mind because I brought him on as a client. He had no claims in his workers' comp history. He had a 0.7 mod. So let's say he was paying a $10 workers' comp rate. 10% of his payroll goes to workers' comp for low wage. He had a lot of low wage plumbers. And his annual premium normally would have been about $1 million a year. But because he had a 70 mod, his payroll was $1 million, so his premium was $100K. But because he had a 70 mod, his premium was $70K. So he's saving $30,000 a year. Well, a year later, he had an employee get hurt. It was the average size claim, which is about a $40,000 workers' comp claim. When you factor in the lost time when the employee is at home recovering, their medical costs, medication, the average workers' comp claim is $40K. So when that hit his experience mod, which was the following year, it bumped to a 95. So instead of him getting a $30,000 cut in insurance cost, he's only getting a $5K reduction. So that claim cost him $25,000, and it's going to stay in his mod for 3 years. So overall, it affected him by $75,000. Then he had another claim the next year, similar size, let's just say. So after a couple of years of claims, 2 claims, 1 each year, his mod then jumped to a 120. So now he's paying $50,000 more per year for 3 years in his workers' comp premium because of those 2 claims. And if he could have just prevented one of them, right, it would have saved him $75,000. So when you fall into that bucket of people that say, hey, I'm going to do these safety trainings and it's just going to be a big waste of time, so I'm not going to do it. That's a myth, because if you could just prevent one claim by having safety be top of mind for your workers, them knowing that you actually care about them making it home safe, and you explaining to them how important it is to have the right attitude, to pay attention in the safety training. Our platform has a gamified quiz after each short safety video, and that quiz has a leaderboard so the employees can all see who's doing well on the quiz and who's not paying attention. And over time, no one wants to be at the bottom of the leaderboard, so they pay more attention, they do better on the quiz. And if just one claim could be prevented, the ROI is just enormous. And so our system is easily paid for, because we argue that over time your claims are going to reduce when you use our digital platform.
That's super insightful to have a real life example of what happens when you have workplace injuries. Last question I have, and maybe you don't have the answer, maybe it's variable. Say you have all this in place, you're doing everything, it's documented, you've got the whole bit that you guys promote, and something still happens. Is your insurance carrier more likely to be a little bit more lenient on that workers' comp increase than if you didn't have anything in place?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because carriers know things are going to go wrong on occasion. Even the best companies, they could be doing daily safety trainings. Occasionally, someone's still going to, eventually every business is going to have a workplace injury. But they look at, okay, you're already doing everything in your power to prevent these from happening. So this was just one of those situations that was unavoidable. They will absolutely punish you less severely, knowing that you have a great safety program, because they're looking to reward those companies that are doing what they're supposed to do. If anyone out there is not sure what their compliance requirements are when it comes to safety, check out our website, oursafetyteam.com. That's OUR, safetyteam.com. We've got a free OSHA compliance checklist. One is for licensed contractors. Another one is for just industrial employers. Download the checklist. It doesn't cost you anything. And just go through and see where you're at. And if you need some help with the tailgate safety training or with the hazard assessments and incident reporting, you can click the green box on our website to book a demo, and we'll show you exactly how our platform works and how it can just do it for you.
Love it. We'll definitely repeat that here at the end as well at oursafetyteam.com. If you guys go there, I just pulled it up now on the computer. It's super easy to navigate. So you can check it out based on your business, your industry. Eric, as we start to wrap this up, we want our listeners to take immediate action. And maybe their immediate action is to go there and do that assessment to figure out what they need to do next. But what is one thing that they can do within the next 24 hours to move their business slightly more forward than where they are today from a safety, compliance, workers' comp, all the stuff that we talked about today standpoint?
I would say hop on ChatGPT, our new best friend when it comes to getting things done quickly and easily. And safety consultants out there that are listening to this that, make a fortune charging companies to do it for them hate me saying this, but you could go to ChatGPT, explain what industry you're in, explain how many employees you have, say what state you're in, and say, please create a customized injury illness prevention program, IIPP, for my company that would make us look good in the event of an audit. And I kid you not, within 10 seconds, it's going to create it for you. Go through it, read it, customize it for your company when you put it into your own Word document. And I've been impressed everything I've seen it create. So that's step one. I know you said one thing, so get that done. Because the first thing any auditor asks for when they come visit you for a friendly, fun, surprise audit, show me your IIPP. So if you have that, you've already kind of, leapfrogged a lot of your competitors that don't have one. But the next thing is just start scheduling safe tailgate trainings with your workers. Do it every other week. If you can't do that, just do it once a month. Present a topic to them. Have them sign an attendance form. Start putting those in your IIPP. Then you're really ahead of the majority of your competition.
Love it. There you guys go. ChatGPT, get started today. Eric Wick, thanks again for coming to the show, sharing your journey, and providing a ton of actionable advice and insight for all our blue-collar business owners out there as we continue on this journey to prosperity. Before we sign off, Eric, where can our listeners go to keep in touch with you and learn more about what you guys are doing for them?
Just check out our website, oursafetyteam.com, oursafetyteam.com, or just do a Google search, Safety Team Technologies. You'll see all of our 5-star reviews come up. Companies love that they can just sign up for enroll in our service, schedule their first safety training date, and then the system will take it from there and do it all for you. All you have to do is keep your employee roster up to date. It's oursafetyteam.com or Google search Safety Team Technologies, and you'll see everything you need to know.
Awesome. There you all have it, oursafetyteam.com. Eric, thank you again for your time today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Paul. Thanks for having me.
And before we go, as you know, there are a lot of moving parts when it comes to creating consistent, positive cash flow. However, the journey starts with making sure you are priced right so you can have a growing and more profitable business. I've created a super easy to use pricing calculator for everyone in the trades. You will no longer have to guess what you should charge. You'll no longer have to call around your competition and see what they charge. This calculator is easy to use and will provide you confidence and clarity that you're actually priced right. It also comes with a step-by-step PDF guide and a video walkthrough. So head on over to thebluecollaradvisors.com/price. thebluecollaradvisors.com/price to download it today, and so you can start implementing it tomorrow. Until next time, remember, what got you here won't get you there. If you are ready for different results, it's time to start doing things differently.